Welcome to the latest installment of our Seafood News Roundup, sponsored by Urner Barry's new Seafood Price Current Report. I'm SeafoodNews.com editor Michael Ramsing, reporting with just 1 week to go before Thanksgiving and 5 weeks before Christmas. It's about where that holiday shopping panic time starts to set in. It's also around this time of the year when restaurant traffic starts to pick up around the U.S. as consumers are out and about grabbing gifts or in transit to the in-laws for the weekend. And the restaurant sector is where we start our headline news coverage, as Red Lobster announced this week that it will feature wild-caught shrimp on its menu for the holiday season. This is the first time in many years that Red Lobster is promoting wild-caught shrimp. For a limited time, Red Lobster is selling red shrimp from Argentina as part of its wild-caught lobster and shrimp trio offering. Imported red shrimp has gained a lot of popularity in the U.S. market this year, with imports from Argentina up 150% in 2016. In other news, in just a span of a few days, fishermen in Iceland walked off the job and then went back out on the water after inking a new labor agreement with the processors that employ them. 3,500 of Iceland's fishermen went on strike over demands for fair pay and better working conditions. The work stoppage posed a threat to the availability of fresh cod shipments to the U.S. market, but the strike only lasted 4 days since Iceland's fish processors and fishing unions were able to sign a new 2-year labor deal that got crews back out on the water. Meanwhile, in other news, Dungeness crab fishing in California opened as scheduled on November 15th in waters south of Point Reyes. This is a huge change from last year when very high levels of the toxic domoic acid caused a 3-month delay to the entire West Coast Dungeness fishery. Officials in Oregon and Washington are now waiting for crab tests, but are confident that their crab seasons are also on track to start on time this December 1st. Finally, fishery managers in New England opted for stability in the scallop fishery for 2017 after approving a plan that slightly reduced fishing pressure in open areas and provided one more additional trip to the rotational closed areas. The Council's landings projection for the 2017 season is around 47 million pounds, which is just marginally higher compared to the current fishing year. Remember, you can read all of these stories and get much more daily news content from around the industry with a subscription to SeafoodNews.com. As for today's top story, we turn to this U.S. shrimp market, where there's a notable price spread for 26 30-count headless shell-on shrimp between Latin America and Asia. Over the past year, the spread between these two markets has grown to the highest on record, with a price differential now around $1. This has largely been driven by the lack of supply for Ecuador shrimp in the U.S. market. Ecuador has seen much stronger and more profitable demand for its head-on shrimp from China and also from Europe than for headless shell-on shrimp sold in the U.S. However, in the last couple of weeks, this situation shows some signs of change. First, Urner Barry is reporting some weakness on offers of Ecuador 2630 shrimp with demand sluggish. Second, reports are indicating falling demand in China because of currency swings. And third is the end of the holiday ordering period in Europe. And that's what's happening in the shrimp market this week. And that's all we have for you in today's show, which was brought to you by Urner Barry's new Seafood Price Current. We've given the seafood industry's premier source of wholesale market quotations a facelift with color-coded changes to indicate market direction and a linking feature for easy access to historical data from Urner Barry's Comtel. The report also updates some of our seafood quotations in an effort to increase the clarity of specific market behavior and reflect updates to how certain items are most commonly traded. Learn more about the changes to the Seafood Price Current or start your subscription today by visiting shop.urnerbarry.com or by giving our sales team a call at 732-240-5330. Remember, you can always tell us how we're doing on Twitter by tweeting at us at SeafoodComNews and at UBSeafood, and like our Urner Barry and Seafood News pages on Facebook to learn more about what we're up to. You can also listen to Urner Barry on your mobile device through our Market Digest and Seafood News podcast series. Just search Urner Barry or Seafood News on SoundCloud, iTunes, or Google Play to hear in-depth interviews and reports straight from our expert staff. For Urner Barry and Seafood News, I'm Michael Ramsing. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you all again next week.